Shalom, friends. We're now looking into a little bit deeper in the Torah. We're looking into the panemius, the inner working of life and in the Torah. And we have to understand that everything in the Torah and everything in Judaism and every story you hear and every midrash you hear and every zohar you hear and every mashal you hear, everything you hear, it's all about your neshama. Everything's about your neshama. Yes, we believe that what the stories in the Torah happened, but we believe that they are the cosmic realities. So we believe that there was a man called Abraham, and he was the father of our nation, and also he represents this sphere, this power of chesed, loving kindness, and therefore rooted in our spiritual DNA, from the personification of the power of chesed, through Abraham, we have that power. And through Yitzhak we have Gevurah and Yaakov Tiferes. We have all these powers. So there were real people who did real things, but they also represent cosmic forces. Every mashal you hear, the king sent his son out of the palace, that's talking about Hashem sending the neshama out into the world to build itself. Everything is really talking about deeper things. Everything in the Torah is talking about deeper things. And we're in the Parshas of Kriyas Yamsuf, of leaving Egypt and crossing the sea. And everything is panemius. There's a deeper understanding to everything we see, but especially in these Parshas, because this is the foundation of our nation. It's the foundation of our nation in every generation. Jewish meditation. It's the foundation of our nation. And we are obsessed with leaving Egypt. I don't know if you noticed that. We are obsessed. Every morning we're like, Yetzias Mitzrayim, leading up to the Shema, it's all about, and you took us out of Mitzrayim, and the Song of the Sea, and when you put on tefillin, it's Mitzrayim. When we make Kiddush on Friday night, leaving Mitzrayim, tefillin in Mitzrayim. We're obsessed with leaving Mitzrayim. And why is that? Because this is the ultimate cosmic reality that we find ourselves in. Mitzrayim means ego limitations. The very fact that your soul is in a body, that's Mitzrayim, that's Egypt. The word Egypt is Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim comes from the word Mitzar, which means limitations, borders, boundaries. And it's got the word Tsar in it, which is suffering and pain. So the very fact that your soul came down into a body, that is what the Torah is also representing when it says the Jewish people came down to Mitzrayim. It's a cosmic world playing out here. And then what happens there? We are enslaved. And you know, and we say this every year, that you are a complete slave to your ego. Complete slave to your ego. You're a complete slave to what other people think about you. So what? Am I cool enough? Do I have a nice enough car, nice enough body, nice enough girlfriend? Do I have what I need to feel good about myself? Your self-esteem comes from these superficial things. When you become more religious, it's a little bit better, but still, how much Torah do I know? How long is my beard? How good is my challah? So it's a little bit better, but not that much better, because it's still kind of getting this sense of self from getting honor and recognition. You're also a slave to your physical desires and your society. Very huge slavery happening right now, as you sit in this room. So, my friends, when I was becoming more religious, they said to me, you used to be so free. And now you can't, you used to be able to eat whatever you like and go wherever you like and smoke whatever you like and be with whoever you like and do whatever you like. Now you become religious, now you're a slave. And I said, no, it's exactly the other way around. Being able to do whatever you like, eat whatever you like, sleep with whoever you like, smoke whatever you like, doesn't mean you're free, it means you're a slave to your ego desires and your physical desires. You're a complete slave. True freedom means understanding what it is I'm meant to be achieving, what it takes to achieve that, and being free to use your self-control to not do the things that are not taking you where you need to go, and to invest in the things that are taking you towards where you want to go. So the only free person is the one who understands the rules and lives by the rules. You have to understand that. My wife is an amazing artist. I'm a terrible artist. She's an amazing artist because she went to art school. She learned the rules of form and perspective and shading and tones. And I'm a good piano player. Play the piano and the keyboard. Do you know why I'm good at the piano? Because I have piano lessons. If I didn't, by the way, I met the Yanuka. Do you know who the Yanuka is? Yanuka is about 35 years old. He knows everything about prayer, the whole Torah, Zohar, everything. He knows everything. Big old Sfadi Mukubalim come and kiss his hand. He's like, people think he's a Mashiach. Happens to be just very down to earth and lovely and fun. But at the end of his shiurim, he plays the keyboard. Now, I play the keyboard. So I thought, it's a bit of shtick, it's going to be cute. I started playing, it was mamish, music from heaven. Music straight from heaven. It was not normal. It was not normal. And so someone asked him, did you have lessons? This is going against everything I just said, by the way. But there's a high level. He said, no, when I was 15 years old, I saw someone playing the keyboard and I just stopped and I was like, Hashem, please, I just want to play the keyboard for you. Just want to play for you. So he got a keyboard and he said, there's got to be a chachma to it. There's got to be wisdom. It can't be that hard. He said after about 3 hours, he just worked out how to play. And he said, Hashem, please help me play. But that's him. That's not you. But tefillah can override that, yeah? The Yanuka, what's his name? Go on YouTube and just put in the Yanuka. Amazing. Shlomo Yehuda, Rabbi Shlomo Yehuda. Okay, he's amazing. Amazing. Pardon? He memorized all of Shas 50, knew everything, the whole Zohar, and he's pulling, when he speaks, he's pulling from the Mizl Sharim and the Kisvei Arizal and the Rambam, and it's just like, he's got the whole of Torah in front of him. That is a free man. We must understand this. You're Baal Teshuvas, I'm a Baal Teshuva. When you're a Baal Teshuva, this is the example I always use, but it's just funny. Who else had this? Am I allowed to flush the toilet on Shabbos? Because it's pressing a button making a noise. Can you do that? Oh, you can, by the way. But when you're a Baal Teshuva, you don't know if you can or not, so you're not actually free, you don't know what to do. Rav Albaz, the posek, he's the freest person I know because he knows what he can do and what he can't do. He's free, he doesn't have to worry. As a Baal Teshuva, you're worried the whole time. Am I allowed to do that on Shabbos? Am I not? So I'm not free. So you just say, okay, I'm not going to do it. And you end up like ruining Shabbos because you don't know what you're doing. Freedom comes through the understanding the laws, but not only the laws, but what the laws are pointing me towards. So we want to become free. So the soul comes into the body with its ego. It has these two major problems called gaiva and taiva. Ga'ava, ta'ava. That means honor-seeking, ego. I want power and I want to be right and I want to look good. And then there's taiva is just physical pleasure. I just want physical pleasure. And that's our slavery. That's your Mitzrayim. So why are we obsessed with Mitzrayim? Because it's talking about our whole psychological mission in this world, which is to free ourselves from this slavery. Now, Pharaoh is obviously comes from the words pet ra, which means bad mouth. It means the Yetzer Hara. We have this Yetzer Hara, and one thing you learn from Moshe is just don't listen to the Yetzer Hara. So look, don't mess with me. Who's stronger, do you think? You or your Yetzer Hara?
Me?
Mild, a billion times stronger. When I say you, some people look at me and say, well, what do you mean? My Yetzer Hara is part of me. I have a Yetzer Tov, that's part of me. I have a Yetzer Hara, that's also part of me. I have two parts of me. Wrong. Just say, there's not two parts of you. You are only good. The Yetzer Hara is not a part of you. Just like Pharaoh isn't a part of Moshe. Pharaoh is an external character. It's just that the Yetzer Hara is an external character that has now taken on a bit of your psyche and your voice, so you then identify with it, but it's not you at all. You have to disidentify from it. Get away from it. And that disempowers it, by the way. The more you identify with your Yetzer Hara, the more power you give it. You make your Yetzer Hara stronger. You feed it. I said to my sons last night, I said, guys, your neshama is much stronger than your Yetzer Hara. And they said, I took that back. I said, actually, it's not true. Whichever one you feed is stronger. So if you feed your Yetzer Hara, get angry and selfish, then your Yetzer Hara will get much stronger, and your neshama will be a little bit like out the picture. But if you feed your neshama by helping people and by doing mitzvahs and by saying nice things, then your neshama will get stronger. And then once your neshama is shining, your Yetzer Hara's got no chance. I'm missing.
You mean that we have the power to define our character traits, and we should not, by perhaps some bad character traits that we could have, define our whole self by it?
Brilliant. This is a very important point. I often say to people, you should feel good about yourself because you have good character traits. You have good character traits. So look, I like the fact that I'm disciplined and I'm a kind person. So then people say to me, then I should feel bad about myself for my bad character traits. If you define yourself by your character traits, and you're going to feel good about your good ones, then it's only right that then you should feel bad about your bad ones. That is very logical until you learn some Torah and you realize no. Because your good ones do actually represent who you are. Your good ones come from your neshama, that's who you are. Your bad ones aren't who you are, they're from your Yetzer Hara, and that's not you. So you can feel good about your good ones and not feel bad about your bad ones. In fact, you can feel good about your bad ones because you're aware of them and you're working on them. I feel good about my bad character. I don't feel good about them, but I feel good that I'm aware of them and I'm trying to get rid of them. So your Yetzer Hara doesn't define you in any way whatsoever. However, once you start identifying with it, then it does kind of define you because you've defined yourself as that. I think we've got immense power. I had this other chiddush yesterday. People say a terrible thing happened to them. I got this because I met someone and he had a bike crash. And he was in a coma, I think. He really messed up for a long time. But then he got better and he's now better. And he said, my whole life changed. I was quite selfish before that. I wasn't appreciating life. Now that I got a second chance, I'm appreciating life. I'm a better husband. I'm doing more for the world. I'm kinder. So it actually turns out that the bike crash was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because it changed me. I hear this story often. What I thought was really bad turned out to be good. And I thought about it a bit. And I said, well, you know what? I actually think it depends on you whether it was best for you or not. People say, you know what, everything that happens to me is for the best. Well, I don't know that's true because if that guy then got very, very, very depressed and it ruined his life, then you can't really say it was the best thing that happened to him. He made it be the best thing that happened to him. Do you understand that? It's a very, very powerful idea. I have a very close friend. He had 5 children, wife, and the wife suddenly said, look, I don't love you, and we're getting divorced. And he loved his wife, he loves his kids, he's like, going to mess up the kids, going to mess up everything. Very, very painful. Divorce, very painful in general, unless you really want it. But divorce you don't want, very, very painful. So he fought for it and he said to her, let's go to therapy. So they went to therapy for a few months, but she was eventually he just had to accept, this is it. Over. So I sat with him and I validated his emotions and I said, I'm sorry that happened to you, it's terrible. And I said, but now you have a choice. You can either become a victim to this and become depressed and let this ruin your life, or you can become a master through this. You can't carry on as you're going. It doesn't work. You're going to have to become a better, stronger, more mentally strong, emotionally balanced human being to get through this. So it means you're going to have to get up earlier. You're going to have to go to the mikveh. You're going to have to learn, whatever it was. You've got to build yourself a training plan. Once again, I know I speak about him every day, but Ari Spitz, Ari Spitz lost both his legs and an arm and his thumb in Gaza. I'll show you the picture a billion times. He's my hero. I talk about him every day. Ari Spitz, 20 years old.
I saw your picture with your scooter.
Yeah. Lost both his legs, his arm, and his thing. I can't show you the video now. So there's a video with him with his stumped legs with the medicine ball thing, doing like crazy sit-ups and like training and with his metal legs throwing the medicine ball. And he's in the gym. Like, he could have at that point said, that's it, my life's over. 20 years old, no legs, one arm, no thumb. But he said, no, I've now got to become stronger. I have to become stronger because I can't just carry on like this. So you choose whether what you went through is for the best or not. So my friend actually happened to really sort himself out, and he's a much happier, much healthier, much better person. So when he looks back and says, you know what, the divorce is the best thing that ever happens to me, I'm going to say to him, no, you made it into the best thing that happened to you. Had you got depressed and ruined your life, then it was not the best thing. It's a very deep idea. You choose whether it's the best thing for you or not. Can be. The worst thing can either be the best thing for you or the worst thing for you, depending on how you deal with it. I was speaking to someone yesterday and suddenly their dreams fell through, and I sat and I said, that really sucks. That really sucks. I'm sorry, that sucks. Now you've got to choose. Are you going to let the suck define your life, or are you going to grow through the suck? It does suck. I admit, I'm not going to say it doesn't suck, it sucks. But are you going to let the suck ruin everything, or are you going to let the suck build something? You choose, that's up to you. Not easy, still cry, but sort yourself out. Fine. So back to our thing. We're in Egypt, so we're in this terribly difficult situation. And so finally we get out of Egypt. We left that traumatic event. And now this week's Parsha, the Egyptians are chasing us. So this is that trauma follows you. You might be out of the traumatic situation. You got out of Gaza, but it's still with you. God, it's still with you. So how do you deal with this? How do you get over these difficult things? How do you even, for example, forgive yourself for bad things you've done? That's a very important thing. My close friend Yaakov Klein teaches beautiful Torah. He says what you can do is start turning around, and instead of saying, what's wrong with me, I'm such an idiot, what do I do? You can have self-compassion and you say to yourself, wow, look what I've been through. Look how much I've been through. Isn't that beautiful? Rather than beating yourself up for what you did, give yourself some self-compassion and say, okay, I'm not proud of what I did, but look what I've been through. And if I hadn't been through what I went through, I probably wouldn't have done what I did. And that's a very good way for you to judge other people, by the way. If you ever judge other people, maybe you can think to yourself, well, what if I were in their situation? What if I went through the trauma they went through? Maybe I would have done worse than them. Maybe they're doing really, really well based on their situation, based on their upbringing. You don't know that. Maybe if they had my situation and my upbringing, they'd be doing much better than I'm doing. You can never compare yourself to other people, but this is a lovely way to start looking at other people in a positive way. The same way for you and other people, often we say, you know what, Hashem just made me this way. Hashem made me angry. It's not an excuse. Hashem did make you an angry person. Well, he made you a pure soul who has anger issues. But you can't just resign yourself to that and say, you know what, this is who I am. You say, yes, Hashem gave me this anger problem, but I'm going to change myself. I'm going to overcome my anger. But when it comes to other people, you can use the excuse. You can, if they're angry people, you can say, well, it's not their fault, Hashem made them that way. You hear that? Beautiful. Say that for other people, you can give them that excuse to judge them favorably. Don't give yourself that excuse because it doesn't serve you. If you give yourself that excuse, you're not going to grow. Don't be a victim. There's no point being, even if you are the victim, don't play the victim. Become great through your pain. So this is what the crossing of the sea is. We get to the sea, we've got the sea in front of us, we've got the Egyptians, the trauma behind us, the anxiety in front of us. That's basically what's happening. The sea is the anxiety in front of us. The Pharaoh, the Egyptians is the trauma behind us. And we got wild animals on either side of us. That's all our fear and doubt and low self-esteem. It's a mess at that point. And basically what happens is the sea splits. Now what was the sea called? Yam Suf. So Yam Suf really means the sea of reeds, but Suf means the end. This is the end. There's no hope. There's nowhere to go now. So Yam Suf splitting shows you that, you know what you think is the end is not the end. There's something beyond what you think the end is. But how do you get there? Sea turns to dry land, which means changing your nature. You can change your nature. That's how you escape your trauma, and it's going to take somatic experiencing and heliotropic breathing and ice baths and EMDR and whatever you need. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not an easy thing. But the way you become great is to change your nature. And we said your nature is basically ego and physical craving and all your pain and trauma. Freedom, the whole purpose of life, this is why we're obsessed with Mitzrayim, is leave it behind. We understand? V'yitzaku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem, and the Jewish people screamed out to Hashem. Whoa. Rabbi Nachman says, Ika Yisurim v'hatzarot, Rachmana litzlan hu machmas, shehit gabru hahavalim ra'im, shenaseh nasu mikisufim ra'im. That one's good as well, but that's not the one I was going to do. Let's read this one. But I'll just translate that quickly. It says that the main suffering and pain in our life comes from these terrible futilities and wrong yearnings. We're yearning for the wrong thing. We want the wrong thing. We're invested in the wrong thing. We're yearning, it's exactly what we're saying. We want ego pleasure and power and all of these things. And that causes us to have pain. Beshat kriyat Yamsuf, ayu Yisrael netunim b'tzara gedayla, b'gashmius v'ruchnius. Says, this is Rabbi Natan. He says, at the time of Kriyat Yamsuf, the Jewish people were sunk in terrible pain in a physical way. They were going to get killed, but also in a spiritual way. They didn't feel spiritually connected now. They're screaming out to Hashem. Sea is in front of them. Pharaoh's behind them. They're like, and what this is saying is sometimes when you've been through a lot of trauma or you've got lots of anxiety, you don't feel that Hashem's there. It's like, I feel, in fact, often in life, when you need Hashem the most, it feels like Hashem's just not there. It's like, oh, hold on. Lots of people, when they do tshuva, then they feel less connected to Hashem. It's like, hold on, Hashem, I just did tshuva. I gave up everything for you, and now you've messed up my job, and my life's much worse now than it was before I did tshuva. Many people go through that. And that's just forcing you to go deeper into yourself, to work through that stuff. That often when we face challenge and difficulty and pain in our life, so we think Hashem's not there, it's exactly the opposite. Hashem's exactly there. That's where Hashem says, now you've got to face this. It wasn't Bruce Lee who came up with the idea, face your inner demons. He copied Hashem. Hashem says it's only by going into the water, go into your anxiety, go into your demons, only then can something open up. Only then can you realize it's not the end. You get to choose. You get to choose if it was good or bad. It wasn't good or bad. It was what it was. You get to choose. As our holy sages teach us, and our biggest pain and trauma comes from meichin dekatnus. Meichin dekatnus means small-mindedness, constricted thinking, not seeing the bigger picture, not getting a better perspective on things, judging things very quickly and very negatively, judging yourself negatively, being small-minded. Meichin dekatnus, just focusing on the details without saying, hold on, there's a bigger picture here. Even when we see things that seem to go against the idea that Hashem loves us and it's all good, it's because we don't have a bigger picture. There are past lives, there are future lives, there's loads of stuff that have gone on. Your soul's been down many times. We just don't understand the bigger picture. So most of our pain is meichin dekatnus. But if we had meichin degadlus, if we could have a higher perspective on things, we could actually see that was for my best in the end. What you make significant, that becomes significant. So if you're making these little things significant, that means that, and they said that, and she did that, and no one likes me, and it's not true. There are very few people that no one likes. You know who no one likes? The person who says no one likes me. You're making you're making it happen. The guy who said no one likes me, no one likes him, he's annoying. So Meichen de Katnas is, you're not seeing the whole picture. So you're saying it's not fair. One boy in the yeshiva came out to very distressed. His whole life had been this one plan, and it got taken away from him in a stupid way. So he said, I'm angry with Hashem, and how could he do that, and why? So I just sat with him, and I said, that's awful, I'm sorry. He goes, but what am I meant to do about it? And I said, are you ready to hear an answer, or do you want me to still sit with you in your pain? Are you ready to hear? And he was like, okay, I'm ready. And I said to him, there's two answers actually. One answer is that this is definitely the best thing for you. Maybe had you gone to that college, you wouldn't have met your wife who was at that other college, or maybe you would have got beaten up at that college, or maybe you wouldn't have got a job when you went to that college, so now you have to go to that college. Maybe it's teaching you that you have to work on your character traits and not, you plan your life. I'm going to this college and I'm going to get married and I'm going to everything perfect, and Hashem says, that's not going to make you a great person. You have to understand also, you plan your life to be perfect. I want to go to get the best job, the best wife, the best, my kids are always going to be healthy, do well in school. That's how you would plan your life. Hashem says, yeah, but that's not going to make you a great person. What's going to make you a great person is to face challenges in your life. To have one answer that doesn't make you emotionally feel that much better, but if you pin your whole life on this one thing and it crashes, this is actually when I said, it does suck, but you're going to be a victim to the suck, or you're going to grow through the suck. There you go, that's a bumper sticker. Are you going to be it does suck, but are you going to be a victim to the suck, or are you going to grow through the suck? You've got to choose that. Right, and there was another answer I'm not going to get into now that I gave him. But one day I'll tell you that other answer. You're not seeing the bigger picture. Why me? It's not fair. Shouldn't have been this way. You're not just accepting. Just accept. The first step of all healing is to accept that this is what happened. I accept this. I accept this is my situation. Now I can do something about it. Shem bechinas dinim. These are judgments. Shemisham achizas klippers mitzarim liYisrael. And this is where the klippah, I've been speaking about this a lot in the Shovavim classes. These external forces that cover up Hashem. A klippah is a husk or a peel, like a banana peel, an orange peel, a pistachio peel. So there are spiritual peels. That means things that are covering up Hashem's involvement, covering up connection to Hashem. Your anger is a klippah that covers you up from Hashem. We have many different klippahs. Your desire, your whatever, these are klippahs. So Meichen de Katnas means I'm focusing on the klippot. I'm focusing on this all the externals, the superficial. But we started the whole class saying you've got to get into the panemius. You've got to go a bit deeper into this. You've got to understand it in a deeper way. And also realize that you can't understand everything. You have finite consciousness. You don't have the whole picture. So to understand, so that's where all our suffering comes. We've run out of time, but this is a whole beautiful piece. Rabbi Natan says, "Shamach b'katnot yote azakola." Fine. Let's just go quickly. I just want to get to this bit. There's a bit at the end. Ve'ikah hanes shel kriyas Yamsuf. So the main idea, the main point of the sea splitting, haya al yedei shezachu az lesaleg tatam legamre. How they actually got through the sea was they managed to let go of their finite understanding of reality. This means this means that happened to me, this is who I am, it's not fair. They managed to let go of that. As we said, Yam Suf, the end, they suddenly saw, hold on, it's not the end. It's not the end. There's something beyond the end. There's something that comes after the end. Rak litzok al Hashem, firstly they just screamed out to Hashem, which is, at some point you got nothing else to do. But Hashem, and this is a whole different class I'd like to give you, Hashem says actually don't scream out. It's not the time for screaming out. It's the time for emunah, just trust me. Litchazek be'emunah levad. V'kapzu l'toch hayam. Al samach emunah levad. And Hashem says, you know what? You don't even need to pray at this point. Just have emunah, trust me. Trust me. Now, it's very hard to trust Hashem when everything looks like it's bad. I can't trust you, everything went wrong. So this is the point where you say, okay, I accept. Is radical acceptance. I'm just going to jump into the sea, and then what happens? Sea splits. And what does that mean? The klippah, the thing that's taking away God consciousness, it opens up. He's opened up the klippah to reveal the path through to the other side. That the clippers got peeled off, and the kfir is being fine. It's a good piece. But anyway, we get the basic idea. I think the main point I would like to leave you with is you get to choose if it was the best thing or the worst thing that happened to you. It happened. Was it the best thing or the worst thing? Up to you. You could make it the best thing that happened to you, or you can make it the worst thing that happened to you. What Shabbos.